In the silence of space, love became humanity's weapon. Space was quiet in a way that made humans uneasy. It was not the loud silence of machines or the calm of sleep. It was deeper. It felt like something was listening. Humanity had spread far from Earth. Old planets were crowded, tired, and noisy. New worlds were clean and calm. Stations floated between stars, watching, listening, waiting. These stations were small, filled with sensors and weak lights, but they were important. They watched space for danger. One of these stations stopped responding. At first, no one was worried. Machines failed often. Signals broke. Space was harsh. The control center sent basic commands. There was no reply. They sent stronger signals. Still nothing. Then they checked the records. The station had gone silent in the middle of a normal report. No warning, no fear, no sign of trouble. It was as if someone had simply turned it off. The council argued for hours. Some said it was a power failure. Others said it could be space debris. A few said nothing at all and just listened. In the end, they sent a patrol ship, not a warship, not a rescue fleet, just a small crew to look and report. The ship was called Dawn Path. It was old but steady. Its walls carried marks from many journeys. It did not move fast, but it rarely failed. On board were 3 people. Aaron was the mission leader. He was quiet and careful. He trusted facts more than fear. He had spent most of his life in space and learned that panic killed faster than cold. Tomas was the pilot. He talked too much when nervous and too little when focused. Space felt like home to him. He trusted the ship like a friend. Lena was a medical worker. She had gentle eyes and steady hands. She listened more than she spoke. She joined missions to help others, but also to escape the noise of Earth. The Dawn Path moved through space without sound. Stars passed like distant lights behind glass. Hours turned into days. As they approached the station, Tomas slowed the ship. "That's strange," he said. The station was there. It was whole. No damage, no broken parts. The lights were on, low but steady. Aaron leaned forward. "Any signals?" Tomas shook his head. "Nothing. No life signs. No alarms. Just empty noise."
They docked slowly.
The airlock connected without trouble. Systems showed normal pressure inside. Baron frowned. "That makes no sense." They entered the station. The air was clean. The lights worked. Screens showed frozen data. Cups floated near tables where someone had left them. A jacket hung by a door. It looked lived in. But no one was there. They moved room to room. Sleeping areas, control rooms, storage. Everywhere felt paused, like time had stopped suddenly. Lena touched a chair. "No signs of struggle," she said. "No blood, no damage." Aaron nodded. "It's like they walked away." "But where?" Tomas asked. They checked logs. The last entry was normal. A routine check. Then nothing. Hours passed. They found no bodies. No escape pods missing. No signs of forced removal. Space outside remained silent. As they prepared to leave, Lena stopped near the main sensor room. "Wait," she said. Aaron turned. "What is it?" She tilted her head. "Do you hear that?" Tomas checked his headset.
"Hear what?" "It's not sound," Lena said slowly. "It feels like—"
A pulse. Aaron looked at the sensors. They showed nothing unusual. Lena stepped closer to the console. Her heart beat faster. She felt warm, like standing near another person. She spoke without thinking. "Hello?" The room lights flickered once. Thomas froze. That was not the system. A new signal appeared on the screen. Weak, slow, steady. "It looks like a biological rhythm," Aaron said quietly. "Like a heartbeat. But there's no body," Tomas said. The signal faded as quickly as it came. Aaron ordered them back to the ship. They returned to Dawn Path with more questions than answers. On the way back, Lena sat alone in the medical bay. Her hands shook. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small device. It was a voice recorder. She had kept it against orders. Personal items were allowed, but emotional recordings were discouraged on deep missions. The council believed feelings distracted crews. The recording was her sister's voice. It was old, warm, familiar. Lena pressed play. The voice filled the room, soft and kind. At the same moment, the ship lights dimmed. Alarms did not sound, but every screen showed the same signal as before, stronger now. Aaron rushed in. "What did you do?" "I didn't mean to," Lena said. "I was just listening. The signal changed. It reacted to the sound." It's responding," Tomas said from the cockpit. Aaron's face went pale. "Turn it off." Lena stopped the recording. The signal weakened but did not disappear. The ship returned to human space. The council listened carefully to the report. Most members focused on the missing crew, on the unknown signal, on the danger. Only one thing confused them. The signal responded to emotion. The council ordered silence on the matter. The public was told it was a system failure. The station would be rebuilt. But deep inside, something had noticed humanity. Days later, another station went silent. Then another. Always clean. Always empty. Humanity was being watched. And space was no longer quiet. Humanity began to feel the silence in space like a shadow. At first it was only whispers among the crews, rumors about stations that vanished. Then the pattern became clear. Stations near human settlements, the ones that cared for their people most, went missing first. The council could no longer ignore it. Fear settled over the colonies. Marek, a scientist who studied space anomalies, was called to the council. His work had always been quiet, numbers and patterns, nothing that stirred the heart. But now, he needed more than numbers. He needed understanding. Marek spread star maps across the table, pointing at the vanished stations. "Look here," he said, "and here, and here. There is a pattern. All of them show strong emotional bonds. Families. Friends. Connections." The council members frowned. One older man said, "How can emotion attract danger?" Another woman shook her head. "Emotion is human. Space does not care about humans." But Marek's data was clear. These disappearances were not accidents. Meanwhile, the Dawn Path continued its patrols. Aaron and Lena had returned, but the feeling of the pulse in space never left them. Lena kept her small recorder close, listening secretly to her sister's voice when she could. Aaron tried to keep the crew focused, but even he could feel the shift. Space was watching them, testing them. The council ordered strict rules. No personal communications, no contact with family or friends, no displays of emotion. Crews were separated. Letters were forbidden. Music and stories were considered dangerous distractions. Humanity was being told to hide the thing that made them human, but hiding love was impossible. Not for Lena, not for Aaron, not for Tomas. They all remembered faces, voices, and the warmth of connection. They remembered laughter, tears, and comfort. They carried it inside, even when the council demanded otherwise. One night, while on a patrol near a newly established colony, the Dawn Path detected a weak signal. It was faint, almost like the heartbeat they had once felt at the silent station. Lena rushed to the console, feeling her pulse match the signal. "It's reacting again," she whispered. Aaron frowned. "How?" "We are far from anything." Lena pressed a small button on her recorder. Her sister's voice filled the ship. The signal flared, pulsing stronger, like it wanted her to continue. Tomas leaned back, amazed and frightened. "It's alive," he said. "Or something alive is listening." The council, meanwhile, studied Marek's report. They decided to enforce more rules. Emotional suppression became a priority. Crews were monitored, conversations were limited to work, and any sign of personal attachment was reported. Humans were told that emotion was now a weapon against survival. They needed to be safe, and safety required detachment. Marek disagreed. He believed the opposite. We are being tested, he told a small group of colleagues in secret. Whatever is out there, it reacts to our emotions. Fear, anger, love, they are studying us. Perhaps it wants to see what we are capable of when we care. One of his colleagues, a young technician named Fira, frowned. Care? Are you saying love is important in space? Marek nodded. More than we realize. It may be the only thing that can save us. Back on the Dawn Path, Lena continued her secret recordings. She whispered memories, sang soft songs, and replayed voices from home. The signal always reacted, growing stronger, almost like it remembered something too. Aaron tried to stop her. He feared discovery. If the council found out, she would be punished. But each time he looked at her, he understood. This was not just defiance. It was survival. Days later, a colony near the edge of human space disappeared. No warning, no signs of struggle. Just gone. Alarms went off in control centers. Ships were sent, but they found only silence, not even debris. Marek studied the reports tracing the pattern. Each missing colony had one thing in common: strong communities, families, people who loved and cared for each other, and always. A faint pulse preceded the disappearance, like a heartbeat calling out into space. The council panicked. They began enforcing stricter rules. Personal relationships were discouraged. Crews were paired by efficiency, not friendship. Letters, calls, and messages were restricted. Anyone who showed attachment was questioned. But still, the pulse continued to appear, now reaching out to patrol ships, moving slowly through the void. Aaron and Thomas debated their next step. We can't stop it, Thomas said. We follow orders, we hide feelings, but it keeps happening. Aaron shook his head. Then maybe the orders are wrong. Lena looked at both of them, eyes wide.
It's responding to care.
To love. That is why it reacts to my sister's voice. That is why it appeared on the station and on our ship. It wants to see us. The Dawn Path was sent to investigate a new disappearance. The colony had vanished just hours earlier. Sensors showed nothing. The planet itself was empty. No people. No machines. No sound. The only trace was a pulse deep inside the planet's energy core. A rhythm that matched a heartbeat. Lena held the recorder close. She pressed play. Her sister's voice filled the cabin. The pulse reacted. It grew stronger, moving like waves through the ship. Tomas backed away, but the ship vibrated slightly, as if alive. Aaron stared at the sensors, his mind racing. It is learning, he whispered. At that moment, the signal changed. It was no longer a simple pulse. It shifted, almost like a reply. A message, not in words, but in feeling. A strange warmth filled the room, and for a moment every fear, every tension, every doubt in the crew vanished. They felt watched, but not in a hostile way. They felt tested. The Dawn Path left the planet slowly. The crew was quiet, each lost in thought. Lena clutched the recorder. It wants us to remember, she said softly. It wants to know what we care about. Aaron nodded. Then we cannot hide it. Not anymore. Marek, observing from the council remotely, wrote in his notes, the unknown force. It is not attacking. It is observing. It responds to love. Fear may destroy us faster than this force ever could. Humanity's true weapon is what we are told to hide. It is not technology. It is what we feel.
The council argued, of course. Many could not accept this.
Emotion was dangerous, they said. It made humans weak. Marek argued again, quietly in his office. Weakness is what they fear. That is why they test us. That is why stations disappear. Not destruction, observation. Meanwhile, more disappearances occurred. Colonies that once thrived were simply gone. Ships returned with strange data, records of pulses, reactions to recordings of voices, music, and messages. Always, the pulses strengthened near expressions of love. The Dawn Path became a special mission. Aaron, Lina, and Tomas were allowed limited freedom to experiment. Lena spoke softly into a recorder. Tomas hummed music from old Earth songs. Aaron reviewed old logs, noting the timing of pulses and reactions. They discovered patterns. The pulse grew when they remembered, when they cared, when they did not hide feelings. It weakened when they obeyed the rules to suppress attachment. They began to understand that the unknown watchers were studying not humanity's strength, but humanity's heart. One night the crew rested. The stars outside glimmered faintly. Lena sat near the window, holding the recorder. She whispered, "I hope you can hear us. I hope you understand." The pulse appeared again, faint at first, then stronger. It moved through the ship like a soft wind, brushing past them. Thomas smiled. "It's alive," he said again. "Alive and listening." Aaron nodded. "And it knows we care." The Dawn Path continued its patrol, moving quietly through space. They no longer feared the pulse, not entirely. It was strange, unsettling, but not hostile. It watched, learned, and responded. Humanity was being tested, but not with weapons, not with destruction. It was being tested with the thing they could not hide, the thing they were told to suppress, the thing they called love. Lena pressed play again. Her sister's voice filled the room. The pulse surged, brighter and stronger than before. The ship lights flickered in response. Aaron placed his hand on the console, feeling the rhythm. Tomas leaned forward, studying it. For the first time, all three of them understood. The Watchers were not enemies. They were observers, and love had become their signal, their language, and perhaps their only chance to communicate across the endless silence of space. The Dawn Path continued, carrying humanity's voice, its memories, its care, and its hope through the dark void. Somewhere out there, the unknown Watchers listened, and humanity's heart beat across the stars. Space stretched endlessly around the Dawn Path. Stars flickered like tiny candles in the darkness, cold and distant. Yet inside the ship the air felt warmer than usual. Lena held her recorder close, the soft voice of her sister repeating phrases that had comforted her for years. Aaron watched the console, studying the pulse signals that seemed to respond to her voice. Tomas sat near the window, silent, listening to the rhythm that moved through the ship like a living thing.
For days, the crew traveled deeper into the sector where stations and colonies had disappeared.
The council sent warnings. Do not stray. Obey protocol. But Aaron knew the truth. They were being observed, tested, and the only way to understand the threat was to follow the pulse. One night as the Dawn Path drifted past an uncharted asteroid belt, the ship's sensors flickered. A shape appeared on the edge of detection. It was faint, irregular, like smoke in the darkness of space. The pulse on the console jumped. Lena's hands trembled. "It's here," she whispered. Aaron's eyes narrowed. "Show me everything." The sensors adjusted, revealing something impossible. It was not a ship. It was not a station. It appeared alive, a shifting form that glowed faintly, like bioluminescent jelly drifting through the void. The pulse responded violently, surging through the ship's systems. Tomas leaned back, gripping his chair. It's looking at us," he said. Aaron studied the readings. "It's intelligent. It reacts to us, to our presence. Not our weapons, not our technology. Us." Lena pressed her recorder to her lips, whispering soft phrases of memory, of love, of hope. The glowing shape flickered in response, brighter, closer, moving with a fluid grace that no human design could mimic. The ship trembled slightly. It was alive in a way that made them feel small, yet strangely connected. For hours they watched. The pulse of the unknown being seemed to communicate in patterns, responding to emotions, to thoughts, to memories. Marek's theories had been right. The Watchers did not understand humans. They could not feel as humans felt, but they were curious, drawn to the energy of care, of attachment, of love. The Dawn Path crew realized something important. This intelligence did not attack. It did not destroy. It observed and it learned. The fear that had spread across colonies was not aggression. It was study, a silent investigation into the human heart. Suddenly the shape expanded, surrounding the ship in a soft glow. Lena felt it in her chest as much as in her ears. It was a pressure not of weight, but of understanding. Images flickered in her mind, memories not her own, yet familiar. A family gathering, laughter, the warmth of a hand held in fear, the comfort of a voice that said everything was safe. She blinked, tears filling her eyes. "It shows us memories," she whispered. Aaron touched her shoulder gently. "Stay calm. Observe. Learn." The ship trembled again. The shape pulsed faster, reacting to emotions that Lena had not known she carried. Tomas muttered, It's alive. Truly alive. Not like us, but alive." For the first time, the Dawnpath crew felt that humanity's greatest weapon was not its ships, its weapons, or its technology. It was something older, deeper, and far more dangerous. The capacity to care, to love, to remember. Hours passed. The being continued its silent observation. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, it withdrew, retreating into the darkness of space. The pulse faded, leaving only a faint rhythm in the ship's systems. Lena turned off her recorder, exhausted but exhilarated. Aaron looked at the console. "We have proof now," he said. "They are not enemies."
They cannot attack us. They are studying us.
"But why? What do they want?" Marek's voice came over the secure channel from human space.
They want to understand us. They cannot comprehend love, care, or memory.
That is why stations vanish. That is why colonies disappear. They are testing what we are capable of.
Lena shivered. Testing?
Are we subjects? Yes, Marek said simply. And the pulse, the signal, it is a measure. It grows stronger when we feel. We cannot hide it. We should not hide it. Our feelings are what define us. They are our weapon, and they are our shield. The crew debated quietly. The council had forbidden displays of emotion, yet here, in the emptiness of space, their feelings were the only thing keeping them connected, keeping them alive. They understood now that suppression was not safety. Suppression was weakness. Days later, the Dawnpath approached another vanished colony. Sensors detected nothing. No structures. No life. Only the faint pulse deep within the planetary core. The crew prepared carefully. Lena whispered into her recorder, recounting memories of Earth, of family, of friendships. Aaron and Tomas joined in, recalling moments of connection that had shaped their lives.
The pulse reacted.
It surged through the ship with intensity they had not felt before. Screens flickered with strange symbols, patterns that seemed to represent thought rather than language. The crew realized these beings were not speaking in words. They were communicating in understanding, in emotion, in shared memory. Suddenly, the planet's core pulsed violently. The energy spread through the ship, images flashing in their minds. They saw the colony before it vanished. Families laughing, children playing, meals shared, worries whispered. The beings had witnessed life, not destruction. They were not hostile. They were cataloging. Lena felt something new. A warmth that was not her own filled her chest. She saw flashes of memory, not hers, of people who had lived, who had loved, who had waited. She realized the beings were trying to comprehend the depth of human feeling. Aaron touched the console, mesmerized. "They are trying to learn what we are capable of," he said. "Not how we fight, not how we survive, how we feel." The crew understood that the disappearances had not been random. They had been selective. The beings had taken only those humans whose communities were strongest, whose bonds were deepest. They were seeking the heart of humanity, not its arms or weapons. Lena pressed her recorder again. Her sister's voice, now joined by memories of her friends, of her past, of kindness she had once received, filled the cabin. The pulse flared once more. The beings reacted, shifting, expanding, folding in on themselves as if considering every fragment of humanity they had witnessed. Tomas finally spoke, his voice low and awed. We are terrifying to them, not because we are strong, but because we care. Because we feel.
Aaron nodded, understanding at last.
Then we must use it. We must embrace it. Hide nothing. The Council can try to suppress it, but this is what makes us human. This is what gives us power. For hours they continued to broadcast memories and feelings into the void. Slowly the pulse stabilized, as if the beings were learning, adapting, understanding. There was no attack, no retaliation. Only observation, only comprehension. Then the unexpected happened. The pulse split. A new presence emerged, separate from the first. It moved closer to the ship, hesitant, curious. Unlike the previous signals, this one seemed aware of itself. Lena felt it in her chest. It was small, almost fragile, yet alive. It pulsed not with cold logic, but with curiosity, uncertainty, and something that resembled fear. The crew held their breath. They realized that not all of the Watchers were the same. Some were observers, some were learners, some were cautious. The new presence approached, responding to the memories and love they shared. It hovered near the dawn path, watching, absorbing.
Aaron finally spoke. It is not attacking.
It is learning. Perhaps it is alone. Perhaps it has questions. Lena smiled softly. Then we can help it. We can show it what humanity truly is. The ship drifted for hours, sending pulses of memory, emotion, and care into space. The new presence responded with patterns, with shifts in light and rhythm. It seemed to mimic them, to understand them, to reach toward them. The Dawn Path crew realized they were no longer simply explorers. They were teachers. They were ambassadors of feeling in the silent vastness. And then, unexpectedly, the new presence recoiled, suddenly withdrawing into the void. The pulse faded. The ship shivered as if a part of the universe had disappeared. The crew sat in silence, knowing they had made contact, yet uncertain what it meant. Marek's voice came over the channel again. The being has responded. It fears, perhaps, what it cannot understand. But it is learning, and learning is the first step toward comprehension. Do not underestimate the power of emotion. It is more dangerous than any weapon we have ever built. The Dawn Path continued its journey, carrying the pulse of humanity across the darkness. Lena kept her recorder close, whispering memories, singing songs, telling stories of care and hope. Aaron maintained the ship's course, observing, recording, learning. Thomas watched the stars, feeling a strange connection to the beings that waited, listened, and learned. Somewhere in the silent void, the Watchers were changing. They were no longer simply observing. They were beginning to understand. And in that understanding lay both hope and danger. The crew realized that the true test had only just begun. The beings were patient. They were silent. They were powerful. And they were learning what humans had never stopped feeling: love, memory, and care. The Dawn Path carried these gifts forward into the emptiness of space, uncertain of what awaited them, yet knowing that humanity's greatest strength had finally revealed itself. Not weapons, not technology, but the pulse of the human heart. Space did not feel empty anymore. It felt crowded with thoughts that humans could not see but could feel. The Dawn Path moved slowly through the dark, its engines low and steady. Inside the ship, the crew worked in silence, but it was not fear this time. It was focus. Aaron stood near the main console, reading data that still made little sense. Pulses appeared and vanished without warning. Some were soft and slow. Others were sharp and fast, like sudden fear. He could now tell the difference. He hated that he could. Lena sat nearby, holding her recorder. She did not play it yet. She had learned patience. The pulses reacted not only to sound, but to intent. If she played the recording without feeling, nothing happened. If she listened and remembered, the pulse answered. Tomas watched the stars. "They are closer," he said quietly. Aaron nodded.
I know. They were not alone in this sector anymore. The Watchers were near.
Not one, not two. But many. They did not appear as ships. They were shapes of light in motion, sometimes clear, sometimes barely visible. They did not block the path. They followed. The council had finally changed its tone. Orders came, but they were uncertain now. No more strict silence rules. No more forced separation. Fear had not worked. Suppression had not worked. Humanity was still losing stations and colonies. Marek spoke to the council again. This time Moore listened.
They are not attacking us, he said. They are afraid of us.
Not our weapons, our emotions. Love breaks their order. It causes conflict in their shared thinking. They do not know how to control it. One council member asked, "Then why do they keep taking our people?" Marek answered softly, "Because they are trying to understand the source. They are pulling pieces out to study them. They do not understand that removing people destroys what they are trying to learn." The council went silent. On the dawn path, the crew approached a damaged patrol ship drifting in space. It had not been destroyed. Its engines were dead, but its hull was intact. Life signs were weak. Aaron ordered docking. Inside the patrol ship, they found survivors. 3 people, exhausted and shaken. One of them was a young engineer named Rel. His hands shook as Lena checked his condition. "They came," Rel said again and again. "They did not hurt us. They looked at us, felt us." Then everything stopped working. Aaron asked, "Did they speak?" Rel shook his head. "No words. Just pressure. Like someone touching your thoughts." "Lena gave him water. What were you thinking at that moment?" Rel hesitated. "My daughter," he said. "I thought I would never see her again." The pulse appeared immediately. It moved through both ships, stronger than before. The lights dimmed. The air felt heavy. "They react to loss," Thomas whispered. "To fear of losing love." Aaron closed his eyes. "And to love itself." The Watchers appeared again, closer this time. Shapes of soft light formed around the ships. They did not attack. They waited. Lena stepped forward slowly. Her heart pounded, but she did not stop. She pressed play on her recorder. Her sister's voice filled the space between the ships. The reaction was instant. The Watchers recoiled. Their light flickered. Some shapes pulled back. Others trembled, like they were struggling. Aaron watched the readings in shock. "They are unstable," he said. "Emotion is hurting them." Marek's voice came over the channel. "Not hurting," he corrected. "Changing. They cannot process it together. Their shared mind breaks when strong feelings enter." One of the Watcher shapes separated from the others. It was smaller, dimmer. It drifted closer, slower than the rest. Lena felt it before she saw it. This one was different. It was not cold. It was unsure. She spoke aloud, her voice shaking. "We are not your enemy." The shape pulsed once, soft, careful. Aaron took a step forward. "We do not want to fight." The shape pulsed again. A faint echo answered inside the ship. Not words. Feelings, confusion, fear, curiosity. Tomas swallowed. "It's alone." The other Watchers pulled back, keeping distance from the smaller one. It hovered between them and the dawn path, caught in the middle. Lena understood. "They are afraid of it," she said. "It feels too much." She played the recorder again, quieter this time. Not memories of loss, memories of comfort, of sitting together in silence, of being safe. The small Watcher responded. Its light grew warmer, steadier. Inside the shared mind of the Watchers, something broke. The others reacted suddenly. Energy surged. The space around them twisted. Systems on both ships failed at once. Not destroyed, disabled. Aaron shouted orders. "Shields up, power to life support." The Watchers did not fire weapons. They simply pressed, like a storm of thought. Lena fell to her knees, holding her head. Images flooded her mind. Cold worlds. Endless survival. A species that had removed emotion to survive extinction. Love had once torn them apart. It had caused disagreement. Delay. Death. They had cut it out. Now they saw it again in humans, spreading through space. They were afraid. The small watchers screamed without sound. The pressure stopped. Everything went quiet. When systems came back online, the watchers were gone. All but the small one. It hovered near the dawn path, dim and shaking. Marek spoke softly through the channel. It broke away. It cannot return. The others will destroy it if they can. Lena stood slowly.
Then we can't let them.
The council objected at first. Taking in an unknown being was dangerous, risky, unacceptable. Aaron ignored the delay. He gave the order. The dawn path moved closer. The small watcher followed. They did not capture it. They did not contain it. They simply stayed near, broadcasting calm thoughts, steady memories, quiet care. The watcher stabilized. Days passed. More encounters followed across human space. Ships stopped firing weapons. They stopped hiding emotions. Instead, they broadcast memories, music, voices, stories. The watchers reacted badly at first. Many retreated. Some disabled ships, then fled. They could not stand the noise of feeling. But the damage was different now. No ships were destroyed. No colonies vanished. Humanity had changed the rules. The council finally admitted the truth to the public. Panic followed. Then something unexpected happened. Families sent messages, not warnings. Messages of love. Parents spoke to children in space. Partners sent recordings. Friends shared laughter. The pulse spread everywhere. The watchers' shared mind began to fracture. Some fled beyond known space. Some went silent forever. Some watched from afar, afraid to come closer. And one stayed. The small watcher remained with the dawn path. It did not speak, but it learned. It listened to stories. It observed care. It reacted gently to kindness. Lena named it quietly in her thoughts, though she never spoke the name aloud. Aaron watched the stars, feeling the weight of what they had started. This is not over, he said. Marek agreed. No.
But now they know something they cannot forget. What?
Tomas asked. That love is not weakness, Marek said. It is chaos. And chaos terrifies those who only survive through control. Far beyond the dawn path, something else noticed the change. Something older. Something that had not yet decided how to feel. Space listened, and this time, it did not stay silent. The dawn path moved slowly, no longer hiding. Its signal was open, steady and warm. It carried memories, voices, and quiet thoughts into space. The small watcher stayed close, drifting beside the ship like a fragile shadow. It pulsed softly, reacting to kindness, calming when the crew felt calm. Lena spent hours speaking quietly, not always using words. Sometimes she only remembered. Sometimes she played old recordings. Sometimes she sat in silence and felt care without sound. The watcher responded best to that. It learned not through language, but through presence. Aaron watched everything carefully. He trusted the calm, but he did not trust space. He knew something was coming. Too many watchers had fled. Too many signals had gone dark. Change never happened without consequence. Marek sent updates from human space. His messages were clear, but heavy. The watchers are splitting, he said. Their shared thinking cannot hold. Some want to retreat forever. Some want to destroy what they fear. A large group is moving. Aaron asked the question no one wanted to answer. Toward us? Yes, Marek replied. Toward human space. The council was in chaos. Some demanded weapons. Others demanded silence again. But the silence no longer worked. The pulses were everywhere. Families were talking. Colonies were sharing stories. Love had become loud. The watchers felt it like pain. The dawn path received a wideband signal, not a message. A warning. A massive movement through space, a fleet, not of ships, but of minds, moving together, pushing back against change. Tomas stared at the display. "That's not observation," he said. "That's a decision." Lena felt the small watcher tremble. It pulled closer to the ship, dimming with fear. "They are coming to end this," she said. "To stop us," Aaron nodded, "or to stop themselves from changing. The Council ordered evacuation of outer colonies. Ships moved fast. Panic spread. But the Watchers moved faster. Systems failed without damage. Fleets were frozen in space, powerless, but alive. The Watchers were not killing. They were silencing. Marek sent another message, quieter now. They believe emotion will destroy everything. They think love spreads like a sickness. They are afraid it will reach them all. Lena looked at the small watcher. It already has. The Dawn Path was ordered to retreat. Aaron refused. "If we run," he said, "they will think fear is the answer. It is not." The Council threatened court action. Aaron ended the connection. The Dawn Path turned toward the incoming presence. The space ahead began to glow, not with light, but with pressure. The air felt heavy. Thoughts felt crowded. Even Tomas went quiet. Then they felt it. Not one pulse, but many, layered together. Cold, ordered, endless. The Watchers arrived. They filled the space like a living wall. Shapes overlapped and merged. Their presence pressed against the Dawn Path, testing, measuring, judging. The small watcher cried out without sound. Lena stepped forward, heart racing. "They are going to destroy it," she said. "It is different. It cannot survive them." Aaron made a choice. "Open everything," he said. Thomas turned to him.
Everything? Yes, Aaron said. No filters.
No limits. Lena understood instantly. Her breath caught. "If we do that," she said, "they will feel all of us." "That's the point," Aaron replied. Marek's voice cut in urgently. "Aaron, wait. If you open a full emotional broadcast, their shared mind may collapse completely."
Aaron answered calmly. Then they will finally understand what they fear. The Dawn Path opened its systems fully.
Not weapons, not shields, memories. Voices from Earth poured out. Laughter, crying, promises, goodbyes. Songs, stories of sacrifice. Of parents giving everything. Of strangers helping strangers. Of love that hurt and love that healed. Lena added her sister's voice. Not loud, not desperate. Just real. The effect was immediate. The Watchers recoiled. Their unified presence shattered into waves of confusion. Signals spiked wildly. Some shapes pulled back. Others froze. The pressure around the ship twisted and broke. They could not process it together. The shared mind fractured. Inside the Watchers, old memories woke. A time long ago when they had felt. When love had caused disagreement. When hesitation had cost them survival. They had cut it out to live. Now it was back. And it was overwhelming. The small watcher grew brighter, steadier. It pulsed with something close to relief. Aaron felt tears on his face and did not wipe them away. The Watchers reacted violently, but not with force. They tried to isolate the signal, to silence it, to erase it. They failed. Because it was not one signal, it was millions. Across human space, people felt it. The Council could not stop it. Colonies joined in. Ships broadcast memories. Families spoke openly. Humanity became loud in the only way that mattered. The Watchers began to fall apart. Some fled beyond known space, tearing their presence away like escaping a fire. Some went silent forever, their minds unable to hold together. Some surrendered, drifting without purpose, confused and broken. The massive presence collapsed. Space went still. The Dawn Path drifted alone again, surrounded by fading light. The small watcher remained. Marek spoke at last, his voice shaking.
They are gone, not destroyed.
Changed. Scattered. Aaron exhaled slowly. And us? Marek paused. You just rewrote First Contact. The Council tried to regain control. Orders came again. Reports. Limits. Rules. No one listened. Humanity had learned something it could not unlearn. Love was not a weakness to hide. It was a force. The dawn path stayed where it was for a long time. Lena sat near the small watcher, speaking softly, teaching it patience. Tomas repaired systems and watched the stars with new respect. Aaron sent a final message to the Council. We will not hunt them, he said. We will not punish fear. We will offer choice. Marek agreed. That may be the most dangerous thing of all. Far away in a region of space untouched by human signals, something ancient shifted. It had watched the Watchers. It had felt the collapse. It had noticed the noise of emotion spreading like light. It was not afraid. It was curious. The dawn path turned slowly toward home, carrying a fragile guest and the weight of what they had done. Humanity had faced the silence of space and answered it with love. But the universe was listening now. And not everything that listens chooses peace. Space was quieter than it had been in years. But the dawn path did not feel empty. The small watcher drifted near the ship, pulsing softly with every word Lena spoke and every memory they shared. It had learned patience and trust, though still fragile and wary. The crew understood that they were no longer just explorers. They were teachers, guardians, and witnesses to something far larger than themselves. Humanity had changed. Colonies spoke openly. Messages of care traveled faster than warnings, and families no longer hid their connections. The Council tried to regain control, but the lessons had already spread. People had learned that hiding emotion brought fear, and fear alone could not save them. The Watchers had taught this truth through absence and threat, through the silence of stations and colonies, and through the weight of observation. Marek monitored communications from human space, compiling reports and listening to the pulse of the galaxy. It is spreading, he said over the secure channel. The energy of care, the memory of love. It is moving faster than anyone predicted. Even distant fleets are responding. They are sending back echoes of what we broadcast. Aaron leaned against the console, hands crossed.
And the Watchers?
He asked.
Are they gone?
Marek's voice was steady but cautious. Not all. Some fled beyond known space. Some broke apart. But the one with you, it has stayed. And it is learning. That is what matters. The small watcher shifted closer to the dawn path, pulsing in rhythm with the memories Lena shared. She whispered quietly about home, her family, her childhood, and the moments that shaped her. The watcher seemed to absorb each word, each emotion, as if it were sunlight for a being that had never known warmth. Thomas watched the light form beside the ship. I think it understands us, he said softly. Not in words, not in logic, but in feeling.
Aaron nodded.
That is enough. For now, that is all we need. The calm did not last long. Reports from the outer sectors reached the dawn path. A fleet of watchers that had once been united was regrouping. Marek's voice warned them. They are afraid of what they cannot control. The collapse of their shared mind has caused panic. Some of them are organizing again, seeking to remove the chaos of human emotion before it spreads further. Aaron turned to Lena. We may have to face them again. Not with weapons, but with what we carry inside us.
Lena nodded. We can do it.
We already have.
Days later, the dawn path approached the edge of the sector where the regrouped watchers had gathered. The small watcher hesitated, pulsing dimly with fear.
Lena reached out with her hand, not touching but offering presence. The watcher responded with a soft glow. The fleet was vast. Shapes of light, countless and layered, pressed against the darkness of space. They did not attack immediately. Instead, they moved with caution, observing. It was clear they remembered the collapse. They remembered the chaos of human emotion and the breakdown of order. Marek's voice echoed in the dawn path. They are evaluating. They may not strike, but they will act to protect themselves if they believe we are a threat. Aaron nodded. Then we must show them we are not a threat. We must show them who we are. Lena began her broadcast, not words this time, not even recordings. She shared her memories, letting the feelings flow naturally. Aaron joined, sharing moments of courage and sacrifice. Tomas added laughter, small comforts, and kindness he had seen in crews long gone. The small watcher pulsed brightly, amplifying the signal, helping the fleet perceive what humanity truly was. The watchers reacted, not violently, but unpredictably. Some recoiled. Some froze in place. Others trembled with confusion. The energy of human emotion, pure and unfiltered, pressed against their collective mind. For the first time, the watchers experienced disagreement. They did not know how to manage the influx of care, hope, and attachment. One by one, the watchers began to pull away. Some fled entirely beyond the known galaxy. Others remained, but moved cautiously, separated from the collective they once trusted. The collapse that had begun earlier returned in a quieter, controlled way. Those that stayed were no longer a united front. They were fragmented, uncertain, and hesitant. Dawn Path drifted among them, silent but steady. The small watcher glowed brighter with every pulse of shared memory. It hovered closer to the ship as if drawn strength from the crew and the emotions they shared. Lena smiled, realizing that their small companion had become something more than an observer. It had become a bridge between humanity and the Watchers, a living testament to what they had shown the universe. Aaron spoke softly.
We did not destroy them. We changed them.
We made them see what they cannot feel on their own. That is our victory. Marek's voice carried over the channel, quiet and reverent. Not a victory in battle, a victory in understanding. You have done what no weapon could do. You have reached across the void and touched them with what makes us human. The Council, observing remotely, sent their first cautious report. They were unsure how to handle it. Some argued for containment, others for patience. Marek's simple response silenced debate. Do not punish what you do not understand. What you see as weakness is not weakness. It is strength beyond your comprehension. The small watcher moved freely now, pulsing softly, learning from Lena's stories and the quiet presence of Aaron and Tomas. It explored the dawn path, absorbing not only the memories, but the emotions embedded in each gesture and thought. It learned patience, curiosity, and even hope. Over the following weeks, humanity did not chase the watchers that had fled. Instead, they offered what they could: stories, songs, messages of care and resilience. The pulse of emotion spread through the sectors, reaching distant colonies and deep space vessels. The watchers that remained could not resist it. They were drawn to it, hesitant but curious. Marek observed the changes. They cannot undo what has been seen. They cannot erase the understanding that humans feel deeply. Our greatest weapon was never our ships or weapons. It was our hearts. Aaron placed his hand on the console. We taught them. And now they will teach each other. Perhaps one day the others will learn too. Lena turned to the small watcher. You are not alone anymore. You can feel safely. The watcher pulsed brighter than ever, hovering close, and for a moment it seemed to smile. Space itself seemed to respond. The darkness felt less heavy, the stars brighter. The silence that had once been oppressive was now filled with possibility. Humanity had spoken to the void, and the void had listened. The dawn path carried the small watcher home, toward human space, toward safety, and toward a future built on what they had learned. It was fragile, yes, but alive. Humanity had faced the unknown not with destruction, but with understanding, compassion, and love. In the distance beyond even the farthest known reaches, something ancient watched. It had felt the pulse of humanity. It had seen the collapse and the growth. It was not afraid. It was learning. And like the small watcher, it waited, patient, curious, and changed forever by the humans who refused to hide their hearts in the silence of space. Lena sat at the observation window looking out at the stars, the small watcher beside her. "We did it," she whispered softly. "We showed them who we are." Aaron stood behind her, hands on the console. "Not just them. The universe is watching now, and we are ready." Thomas leaned back in his chair, letting the quiet fill him. "And we are not afraid. We have each other, and we have everything that makes us human." The Dawn Path moved steadily forward, carrying its passengers and its fragile companion into the unknown. The stars stretched endlessly before them, but for the first time, space felt alive with possibility. Humanity's voice had echoed across the void. Humanity's heart had been seen. And, in the silence of space, love had become the strongest force of all. Somewhere, deep beyond the known galaxy, other beings began to listen. Slowly, carefully, patiently. They could not yet understand it fully, but they would try. And one day, perhaps, the lessons of humanity would reach them too. Until then, the Dawn Path sailed onward, carrying the light of human care and the pulse of life, teaching the universe that strength is not in weapons, not in fear, but in the courage to feel, to love, and to endure. The silence of space answered back, softly, with something entirely new.